stop thinking about yourself and just focus on the other person. You don't have to look for the best answer.
Yeah, many times we just are excited to share what we think, maybe to make ourselves sound interesting, smart. We are going to explore the listening levels framework, which highlights different degrees of attention and focus that we bring to conversations. Are you interested in speaking English fluently and just that? Or do you also aspire to be a great communicator? These two things are not necessarily the same. You can speak English perfectly and still be a mediocre communicator. Or you can speak English at an intermediate level with some mistakes here and there and still be a great communicator. If you want to be a great communicator on top of being a really fluent English speaker, then stick around for this podcast because we'll discuss a key communication skill. That is being a great listener. In this episode, we'll explore the 4 levels of a great listener. Why is this important? Well, sometimes saying the right words can go a long way. Other times, really listening is what makes all the difference. You see, many times we just listen to reply. That's most people. But when you start to listen to understand and with full presence, you set the foundation that allows you to build better relationships, to be more influential. People all of a sudden respect you and hold you in high esteem. And you become a better leader, a better friend, and the list goes on. So get ready to unpack the 4 levels of a great listener with yours truly and the English heroes that joined me in this discussion. Let's jump right in. Welcome to another Heroic English X meetup. We're going to talk about listening skills, but not listening comprehension skills, which is a whole interesting topic on its own, but that's not what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about listening skills regardless of language. What comes to mind when you hear this? Listening skills.
To have the ability to concentrate.
Concentrate. Good. Any other ideas, guys?
It's about active listening when you participate in the conversation and nod or smile. So your nonverbal response is there. You don't interrupt the person, but you confirm that you are there for them. When you confirm with ohos, like, yeah, or ask small additional questions to go deeper in what they are speaking about. Like, could you please elaborate on this? Or, sorry, I didn't follow. Can you please repeat this? So you show that you're very, very much engaged in a conversation.
Great point. So you mentioned active listening, and therefore there is the opposite of that, which is passive listening. We're going to get deeper into those ideas. Any other thoughts, guys? What does it mean to you to be a good listener?
For me, I've read something in a book that said most people listen to reply. I'm waiting for my turn to reply, not listening to understand. So to be a good listener, an attentive listener, is to stop thinking about yourself and just focus on the other person. You don't have to look for the best answer.
Yeah, seek to understand. And many times we just are excited to share what we think, maybe to make ourselves sound interesting, smart, or just, share our perspective. And sometimes we just need to take a step back and just listen. And this is a skill that I see my own gaps here as I've been researching and getting deeper into this topic. So great ideas. That's a brilliant point there, Ahmed. Hey there, just a quick pause on the video here. I just wanted to let you know that I've just finished a 3-part training on confidence building for English speakers. And there's a link in the description of the video where you can access this 3-part training, and it's completely free. and it's super insightful. And there you are going to find out about the key actions of confidence. Because remember, actions of confidence come first, the feelings of confidence come later. So once you learn about these key actions of confidence, you are going to be able to tap into your most confident and fluent self in English. So if you want to join this movement of speaking English fluently and confident and in our most capable way of doing it, do that now. And also, while you're at it, like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss future videos that I'm going to be publishing in the coming weeks. And also you're going to be able to catch up on all the videos that I've already published. So do that, and yeah, continue enjoying the video now. Can you think, it's in the chat, the other icebreaker introductory question. Can you think of someone who's a great listener? What do they do that makes them a good listener?
Yes, I can mention a person from work. He works in a department of organizational development, and I observe his behavior during workshops where he participates as a contributor. And when a facilitator answers questions, and sometimes questions are not clear enough, he often offers his help rephrasing the answer, saying, if I'm right, you were saying this and that. And he does it so great that I envy. And I think it requires to do both, to comprehend, to be very, very attentive, and to be really great at rephrasing, at summarizing the idea you've been listening to.
You know, that's an amazing skill, actually, because when you listen to someone attentively and you actually intentionally summarize their points, but use different words, so you paraphrase, that has a super powerful effect on the other person, because you're hearing it from someone else, but they're using slightly different words. And that kind of like makes you go, wow, I really got listened here. That's a great idea too, Victoria. Thank you. We are going to explore the listening levels framework, which highlights different degrees of attention and focus that we bring to conversations. So we have 4 levels starting at 0, 1, 2, and 3, 4 levels. Level 0 is not listening. I'm not even listening. Victoria, I'm talking to you, Victoria. Victoria, please pay attention, right? That's not listening. You know, Felipe, my son, sometimes is at this level. We're driving on our car, and then he is in the back with his phone. And I'm like, Felipe, did you do this? Felipe, hey, Felipe. And what? Did you say so? Oh, okay. And then he starts listening. It may happen in meetings settings like these ones. Maybe sometimes you guys space out and start daydreaming and like, oh, what was the question? Ahmed, can you do me a favor and just read what this level means here? I'm going to just put in the chat. Level 0, not listening.
At this level, you are physically present but mentally absent. You are distracted, perhaps looking at your phone, daydreaming, or thinking about something else entirely. In this state, you are not absorbing any information, and the other person might sense that they are not being heard. This is a common occurrence in our digitally distracted world, where we might be multitasking or simply disinterested. To move beyond this level, a shift in focus and engagement is required.
So you need to focus and engage, right? That's what you need in order to break out of this state. And of course, you know, if you're on your phone, ditch your phone and anything that might come in between in our interaction, come in between me and you in an interaction. Do you usually find yourself at this level? When does this happen? Have you ever noticed people at this level when you're talking to them? Let's do that. Let's break out and discuss these questions and everything related to that comes up during the conversation. So what do you think about this level? Ahmed, do you usually find yourself at this level? You know, we're all humans. You know, this is not the best level to be at, but we're going to go there at some point. It's just in our nature. We're not perfect. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you are. I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, yeah, sometimes, but it's not intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes because what social media did to my attention span, but I never do it intentionally because for me this is like so rude, so I don't do it.
Yeah, it's inconsiderate. The other person is wanting to say something to you, to communicate with you, and you're not giving them the gift of your attention. If we are really close with a sibling and like and they're gonna, hey man, come on, like I'm talking to you, and it's more like understandable, right? It's happened to me with a particular person that comes to mind. So we worked together, right? And sometimes I needed to walk up to him and ask him something that I needed his help. And he was just so focused on his notebook. And the level of focus was so intense that I said, hey. And it really was really difficult for me to get his attention. He was so concentrated. There may have been some element of like, I'll ignore you for the next 10 seconds and then I'll kind of like start looking up and pay attention to you. So there's a little bit of consciously ignoring someone or maybe delaying the time when you're going to pay attention to them because you just want to finish a sentence that you're writing, for example. That sometimes happens to me when I'm on my computer and my wife walks into the room and asks me something. And I'm like, I'm still typing, and then while she's talking to me, and then yeah. Sometimes I need to ask her to repeat what she asked because of me not paying attention right away. But I'll eventually give her my attention. What else have you noticed? Situations where people are at this level when you're talking to them?
Nowadays, people are really not ignore. They are really dwelling on something else, like scrolling their phone or something, and don't pay enough attention for you when you ask something. Or there are many cases when I felt like, guys, that I'm invisible.
Something that I've also noticed that you could still say that is partly your fault, but in this case, I want to also share the fault with the other person too, because it's true that there are some people that are just terrible communicators. Remember, like one particular lady that if we were in a breakout room that was 10 minutes, she would just talk for the 10 minutes and never give you the opportunity to reply. And it's really hard to follow what they are saying because they just go on tangents and they don't stick to a certain thread. Their mind just goes so many places, and it's like torture, like just being there. And the state that I defaulted to was at some point I stopped listening. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Maybe there are some people that are better than me and they can keep up, right? But I can't. But for most times it's our fault because we are just distracted. Have you ever been at level 0? Here in our meetups, like at some point you just stop listening, you get distracted. Does that happen to you here or any other place or any other meeting?
Yeah, it happens to me. For example, when some subject here is very, very engaging and I start memorizing some details from my past, I can maybe not pay attention for 30 seconds or even more. And then, what happened here? I was in my past. So that was like a time machine sending me back.
Yeah, it happens. And that's when you start operating at level 1, listening to respond. Because when you're listening, then you start to elaborate your answer or your reply to that, which takes a little bit away from full presence, being there and listening, really listening. So level 1, listen to respond. So this is obviously better than not listening at all, level 0, but this is still in the passive listening skills. Active is when we move on to the next level 2. So number 1, level 1, listening to respond. At this level, you're hearing what the other person is saying, but your focus is on preparing your response. You're still primarily concerned with your own agenda, what you're going to say next, how you'll contribute, and how you'll rebut. The internal chatter takes over and your attention is divided between listening and formulating your thoughts. This is a common form of listening in debates or discussions where people are eager to make their points. Case in point, this is here many times, right? Have you ever thought about this at all? I know you have, Ahmed, you just brought it up earlier, but is this an idea that you've ever considered? Have you ever thought about this?
Well, this is not new for me. Actually, I think I am in a mood of listening to respond sometimes because, well, it depends of the question. And honestly, I am a little distracted.
Appreciate that, Dennis. Question for everyone. What's a common circumstance where you listen to respond?
I think, Max, for me, when there is mainly contradictory opinion, you don't agree with the other person because you want to convey your own point of view.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Instead of being in an argument, right? We're not even listening, but we are trying to respond, yeah?
Okay, for me, if I'm in an interview or with someone that I want to show off my intelligence to or to impress him, I find myself thinking about the best answer. So I don't listen attentively. I'm not actively listening to him.
Well, that was listening to respond, level 1. Now we can move on to level 2, listening to understand. Now, this is when we start to break into the active listening side of things. This is when we start to actively listen. Now, this is going to take some time because I don't have a question to discuss off of this, but a task. And we're going to go on breakout rooms and do that, but I'll get to that in a second. First, let me share the next level. Level 2, listening to understand. Now, if you are good at this level, I think you're already stand out because most people operate at level 0 and 1. Level 2, it's great for conflict resolution, among other things, I would say, of course, among many other things. Level 2, listening to understand. This is where true active listening begins. Here, your focus shifts from yourself to the other person. You're no longer just preparing to respond. Instead, you're fully present and seeking to understand their perspective. You're giving them the space to express their thoughts and feelings without mentally crafting your reply as they speak. Level 2 listeners ask clarifying questions, summarize what they've heard to ensure they've understood correctly, and focus entirely on the speaker's message. We fully use our attention to listen, to be present, and we focused on what the other person is saying. We're not dividing our energy, our resources, mental resources to thinking and listening. It's just 100% listening. Do you often find yourself in this situation? Is there a time when you are fully listening? We're going to go on breakout rooms of 2. One person is going to do all the talking. Then we're going to switch. But one of you is going to have a role of just listening and you won't interrupt. Unless if it's for a clarifying question. And of course, you can acknowledge, and like you were saying before, Victoria, go, that's interesting. Wow. Oh, really? Things like that, right? Acknowledging, showing emotion. There are 4 discussion prompts that you can choose from, or maybe something else. Like, talk about a person you care about and share the positive experiences or opportunities you hope they encounter in the future. You're not going to talk about yourself in this case. You're going to talk about someone else, your mother, a brother, a sibling, your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever. Talk about what you wish it happens to them, like what positive experiences that person experiences. Sorry, the redundancy, but yeah. Or talk about an exciting adventure you had. Talk about where you like to be in life in 5 years. Talk about a decision that you don't regret making. So 4 ideas for you to, these are questions that are going to make you really want to talk about it and show emotion, because these are kind of like, there's a lot of feelings here, like, oh, you had an exciting adventure, you want to narrate it, tell it with emotion because it was exciting in the moment. Then that's going to be you, the speaker, you, the listener. Don't share your opinion, seek to understand, and you can only ask clarifying questions. And at the end, you'll summarize what your partner has spoken about. So let me set up some breakout rooms here. So Molly or something.
Okay, I'll talk about an adventure I had. It wasn't the real definition of adventure, but for me at this young age, it was an adventure. When I was in middle school, I went to the beach for the first time. Usually, people go to the beach since they were young, but because I was raised in a religious family, and my brother think it's not appropriate to go to the beach because you will get to see naked bodies and these things in my religion is a sin. So the first time I went to the beach, it was with my uncle. It was against my brother's. How to say this? I disobeyed him. My uncle told me that now I'm a grown-up man. I have to make a decision and to go against his rules. So that's what I did. I went without his approval. It wasn't the best experience because the water was dirty. It was a cold day. There was like some diapers in the water. It was a
nasty. Not an uncommon situation.
Okay. I thought we are the only country we had this, but it's good to hear that it's common. But for me, it was a good day. And when I went home, my brother punished me, but I was not laughing, but I was smiling because I felt like I did a great thing. I'm a hero. I'm a champion. Because I'm a stubborn person in my nature, but because of my brother was a control freak, so this didn't give me the experience to practice my stubborn, to let go of the real me. It's like there was something suppressing me, something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, that's it.
So you said I'm a champion, like you were practicing kind of like these self-affirmations?
No. I feel like I'm a champion because I did something for the first time that aligned with my values and my true identity. Yeah.
Love that. That's great. All right. So we have about 2 minutes. And but what I heard was that at first you weren't allowed / didn't want to go to the beach because of your religion and you wanted to respect that. And of course, at the beach, people are going to be shirtless, stripped of their clothes. And that was against some of the principles in your religion. Your uncle, he at some point said, okay, you're not allowed because you're a grown-up person now. So do whatever you want. It's up to you. It's your responsibility. And you did that. You know what? I couldn't resist. And I actually thrown in a comment there. I mean, you talked about the diapers and I added, oh yeah, not an uncommon situation. It was just me trying to say something, just trying to add something. Oh no, of course, it's just a phrase. It's really short. But when I said this, oh man, I couldn't resist it, So, right. Great. I think I could have asked more clarifying questions because there are some gaps in my understanding of what you shared. You mentioned your brother, but it's not clear. So you can do that now. And it's not clear what was his role in this. Because you mentioned your uncle, yourself, and what did your brother do here? That's not so clear to me.
Okay, I asked his permission to go to the beach, but he refused.
He's older than you?
Yeah. It's 15 years older.
Okay, yeah, considerable older.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I sneaked out of the door.
Oh, you did that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, time's up. Thank you, Ahmed. That was super fun and it's challenging for me too. But yeah, we're gonna go back and then we're gonna return the two of us here in this breakout room, and it's gonna be my turn to do the talking here. Did anyone not follow the rule of not interrupting? Because I screwed up and I couldn't resist myself and I had to say something. I was like, Right after I got done saying what I needed to say, which was really short anyway, but I felt like, I just did it. I can't believe this.
Yeah, I know, but no, this time she was waiting, to ask me something, but definitely was a great conversation. And she gave me the time, to speak in later the questions.
Great. All right, guys. So we're going to go back, same pairs. Obviously, we're switching roles. So listeners, great job. You're going to do the talking now, and you're going to challenge your listener to do level 2 listening, which is listening to understand. So you know how it works? Opening the rooms, and yeah, see you back here in a few minutes. I was going to talk about Felipe, my son, but then I decided I want to talk about my brother. His name is Matias, and he is 26 years old now. I was 8 when he was born. So we were close, really close when he was a toddler and a kid, and I was a bit older. We were really close and friends. And of course, when you grow up, we go different paths and stuff. He moved out of our house when he was just 10 years old because he went to another city. He was a great soccer player. And so he went to Buenos Aires, the capital city of Argentina, to, pursuing his dreams of making it as a professional soccer player. He, in a way, sacrificed his whole teenage years. He lived away from his family. And he ultimately didn't really find the success that he was looking after. He didn't really make his dream come true in that sense. He ended up returning just 2 years ago now. And man, this must have been so hard for him because during the whole teenage years, you just attach your identity to this vision that you want to accomplish. And everything you're doing is just devoted to this dream of being a professional, successful football player. And then things don't work out as you wanted. And so it must be heartbreaking, He now has to kind of reassess his whole life, his whole future. He's now come back. He's found happiness here. He's now studying at university to become an accountant. He's doing so well, and that makes me happy. But at the same time, it kind of breaks my heart in a way that, growth is like this. You're going to have these moments in your life. Life is like that, The only time when you're kind of safe from those hard moments when you're a kid, because when you're a kid, you're just so blissful and you're just so ignorant and unaware of the hard aspects of life. You're not there yet, but really how I feel about this, that this is great to just teach him a lesson and make him stronger. And so I'm happy for him. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. Now, what did you get? Yeah.
That's really thoughtful of you. And I totally relate to what you are saying. I love my brothers and sisters and I care about them very much, but I struggle to show it on my words. Yeah, my action reflect that, but my words don't. So, but lately I have been trying to force myself to do this, to say a kind or an emotional words, even if deep down I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I make it about me. Okay, back to your
That's what I was thinking. But it's in a way that it's organic and it doesn't feel forced, and I really appreciate it. But again, it's hard to really resist it, and if you kind of broke the rule here. But
yes.
it wasn't bad in any way, and actually, I was glad to hear that from you as well. But if you could summarize it in the last 60 seconds here, what did you hear?
Yeah. Okay. You said that you and your brother had a deep connection as his older brother.
I like me interrupting you. Hey, man, I like that you used that word, a different word. You didn't exactly repeat my words. You used deep connection. I didn't say that, but I like hearing a different version of that from your perspective. Yeah, go on.
So you were a little bit, I don't like to say overprotective, but you really care about him and you want to protect him from the hardship he's going to face. But at the same time, you want him to experience this, so he became more thick-skinned or something like that, so he can face what he will about to face, because this is inevitable in life, and you are happy for him. You struggle a little bit to show it in words, but you deep down you really care about him.
That's perfect. Yeah, I appreciate that, Ahmed. Closing the room now.
Okay.
And that was fun. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. Yeah.
We still have level 3, the most advanced level of listening. This is the most advanced level of listening. At level 3, you're not only absorbing the words being said, but also paying attention to the nonverbal cues, such as body language, tone, and emotions. You're reading between the lines, sensing what might not be explicitly stated, but is still deeply relevant. This level requires intuition, empathy, and a strong emotional connection to the conversation. Level 3 listening is crucial for leaders, therapists, and coaches, as it allows them to uncover underlying issues or emotions that aren't immediately apparent. Does this make sense to you guys?
Yeah, but I think it will be hard doing this online. It's hard to see the body language.
It's a barrier, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, how can listening at this level improve our relationships?
I suppose a lot. If you are a good listener, you can show that you are ready to support.
Yeah, I think this is central to cultivating a really deep, high quality relationship. It's not like you need to listen with full presence every time, like in every interaction. There are some like more quick, not as important like interaction with people, like, hello, how are you? And it's like, I'm not having to be full presence there. Of course, if you start to elaborate about how your day went, maybe that's an opportunity there.
Like validation, yeah? You need to show your validation for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you need to be good at, I guess, shifting between these 4 levels besides level 0, which I think is it's very counterproductive and it's not good, not listening at all. But even I can see sometimes when listening at level 1 can be useful. But the more you can listen at level 2, listening to understand and listening with full presence, the more you can do that, the better. Mastering these listening levels is crucial for effective communication, especially in leadership, coaching, and personal relationships. Our personal relationships, right, in our family. Moving from level 1 to 2 often involves practice in self-awareness and empathy, as well as consciously quieting the internal voice that wants to jump in. To reach level 3, it requires not just skill, but a deep interest in the person you're communicating with and the emotional energy to fully immerse in the conversation. This framework aligns with the co-active coaching model's philosophy on different levels of listening. It is also echoed in business and interpersonal communication studies, where active listening is seen as foundational to building trust and understanding. By recognizing which level of listening we're currently at, we can make adjustments and strive to be more present, empathetic, and insightful in our conversations. Just having this framework is going to make you aware that, oh, wait a minute, right now I'm listening at level 1. Let's see if I can move up 1 level and listen at level 2, seeking to understand. Any other favorite moments? Thank you, Victoria, for sharing that.
I really love the last part, which is the task. It add more like I watched course in the past about listening skills, but it got me realize that I still need to work more on my listening skill.
Yeah, we all do. All right, guys. Well, really appreciate you all coming today. All right, English heroes. I hope that you enjoyed that podcast episode. It was a really enlightening episode, even for myself, as I've researched this topic. I learned a ton just by studying this topic of listening and also by applying it in the form of discussion and reflection with the English heroes that joined me in this discussion. So if you want to become a better communicator, a very important aspect of communicating is listening. I'll even go as far as to say that's half the equation. That's 50%, right? Because if you just speak and do all the talking but never listen, then that's not exactly a great and effective communicator. So if you want to become a better communicator, again, become a better listener. And also, download the 3-part training on confidence building for English speakers that I put together. I'm going to link that in the description of this podcast. And that is also going to help you build your communication and English fluency skills and take them to the next level. Now, I want to close the podcast with a few final thoughts. And I just want to remind you that mastering these listening levels is crucial for effective communication. Moving from level 1, that is listening to reply, to level 2, listening to understand, it involves practicing self-awareness and empathy and letting go of our ego and constantly quieting that internal voice that wants to jump in and say something. A lot of times we want to say something smart or something that will make us look interesting. That's our ego being in the driver's seat. So what we want is to put that ego to the side and really level up as human beings. Now, to reach level 3, listening with full presence, it requires not just skill, but a deep interest in the person you're communicating with and the emotional energy to fully immerse in the conversation. So you need to be involved with the other person. It has to be someone that you care about. It could be a coworker, it could be a family member, a friend, whoever you already have a solid relationship with, or someone who you want to build a better relationship and with a more deeper connection with that person. So when you start to recognize all these levels of listening and the level that you currently are in a certain situation, that's when we can actually make adjustments and strive to be more present, empathetic, and insightful in our conversation. So, English Hero, I hope again that you enjoyed this podcast. And as always, keep learning, keep growing, keep living your English. And until next time.